Welcome to this CCSE conversation. This is an initiative of the Centre for Culture, Sports and Events at the University of West of Scotland. The centre has developed from a collaborative partnership between UWS and Renfrew Council. The centre provides a space to undertake collaborative research and development work that has local, national and international relevance. Our guest today is Mr. Deepak Raj Joshi. Deepak is a former CEO of Nepal Tourism Board. He has been the executive board member of Pacific Asia Travel Association and has also led its destination committee, if I'm correct. For the last 70 years, PATA has been the leading voice and authority on travel and tourism in the Asia Pacific region and has membership of more than 95 countries in the association. Deepak is currently also a task force member of Project Hope Travel, which is a recently launched global initiative to promote responsible and sustainable tourism. Deepak has more than 20 years of experience in destination management, tourism promotion, and public-private partnership. And also, Deepak especially has played a leading role in the recovery of Nepalese tourism after the devastating earthquake in 2015. So it is our privilege to have Deepak here in our conversation today, and I'd like to thank him for agreeing to come to us for this conversation. I've also noticed that Deepak has recently retired from his role in Nepalese Tourism Board, and I'd like to start this conversation with a brief overview of what he has been doing lately, Deepak.
First of all, thank you very much. I would like to extend our sincere thanks on behalf of Nepal's travel and tourism industry to University of the West of Scotland and Centre of Culture, Sports and Events. Thank you, Dr. Kalyan, for having me here to share some of our insights about Nepal's tourism. To share some of the thoughts about the tourism in Nepal. So I would like to briefly highlight how our situation was in 2019. It means before this pandemic happened. So in 2019, Nepal received around 1.2 million international visitors. And in this number, the Indian visitors who come by land are not counted. That is another a number which is roughly around 1.3 million. And the 12 days was the length of his stay. The visitors used to stay roughly around 2 weeks in Nepal in average. We had, in GDP, roughly it was around 8% contribution as per World Travel and Tourism Council. Nepal was connected by 30 plus international airlines with 40 plus international cities from 17 different countries, especially in the region and in Middle East and so in Southeast Asia. Nepal was and still is well connected through online carriers. Nepal is a landlocked country situated between India and China, so mostly our connectivity is based on through airlines, international airlines. 2020 was also a very, very ambitious year because we had announced a mega campaign called Visit Nepal 2020, having a target of bringing 2 million visitors to Nepal. The major countries that we used to receive visitors was the number one is India because it is our neighboring country, and number two is China. Surprisingly, the third largest tourist receiving country is USA, though it is a long haul destination. Fourth is Sri Lanka, and fifth is United Kingdom. And Nepal is a well-known brand in European countries. Roughly, so before 2020, our situation was this, and because of 3-4 reasons, the whole industry was very, very encouraged to invest more in Nepal's tourism. One, because Nepal was moving towards a kind of stable political system after the promulgation of new constitution. And lately, Nepal has realized its huge potential in tourism. And thirdly, because of Visit Nepal campaign, and fourth is we are progressing very good in terms of infrastructure development. Two new international airports are coming up. The existing international airport is going to expand very well. And in this pandemic also, we continued our effort to beautify, to expand, and to maintain the airport. So now it is very good airport. It has become a kind of good airport now. So these kind of activities we were engaged in 2019 with the high hope to bring more tourists and to bring more revenue in 2020. Unfortunately, this pandemic has badly hit us.
Yeah, I just remember that there was a big devastating earthquake in 2015. And how was
Mhm.
Nepal in terms of recovery from that earthquake before the pandemic happened?
In fact, Nepal is known as one of the rare destination which has quickest recovery in record, especially after 2015. We had to face a kind of informal economic blockade from the neighboring countries
Hmm.
because of some political misunderstanding, and we had to go through a kind of crisis in supply of goods and fuels and in other supply chains. And after that, there was a kind of unstable political situation also, and we had to go through different kind of elections. Three layers of election we completed in 2017. So Nepal had to go through a kind of crisis, not only in past 3 4 5 years, but since last I would say almost 20 years, we had to go through different kind of crisis.
Hmm.
Sometimes political crisis, sometimes natural disaster, sometimes political instability.
Hmm.
So in 2015, when it hit us through that earthquake, Nepal was devastated by two blows, I would say. One is damage in our physical sites, in heritage sites. Some of the trekking trails were damaged, and in another side, the image of the destination was also damaged, as most of the international media highlighted Nepal as a damaged destination.
Hmm.
So in those days, we tried hard to bring back Nepal's tourism industry back, and we initiated a very strong collaboration with the industry, with the diaspora, Nepali diaspora, which is outside of the country,
Hmm.
and the Nepal loving communities and clubs and the groups. So, because of these effective mobilization of these networks, we have had a kind of we become fortunate to recover faster. In first year, 2016, we recovered. We received 40% of growth. In 2017, nearly 25% of growth. In 2018, also we received 25% of growth, and in 2019, it is roughly around 20% of growth.
Hmm.
So, and after these, the arrival growths, UNWTO and PATA recognized us as a fastest growing country in terms of tourist arrivals.
Hmm.
I think I remember still the Turkey was number one, Vietnam was two, and Nepal was third. And I was fortunate to receive an award as a champions in challenge also because of these recovery efforts. We recovered quite well, and I think to recover after this pandemic also, the experience that we had
Hmm.
in earthquake recovery also will help us tremendously. And Nepal is well known as one of the strong and resilient destination in tourism.
Yeah, coming to the current coronavirus situation, how is the kind of current situation in Nepal in terms of like infections and other forms of impacts in Nepal?
Uh, right now, today, if you see the data of pandemic, I
Mm-hmm.
mean the COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
19,000 cases we had so far. Out of 19,000, 13,000 plus are already recovered and they have gone back to their respective homes.
Mm-hmm.
And 6,000 are live cases. And 45 have death cases. So that
Mm-hmm.
is there, and most of the cases are in the Tarai region of Nepal, where the huge population is. Most good thing about as a destination is in our higher altitude destinations there are very low cases, almost zero cases. The destinations which are popular like the trekking, rafting, homestays type of destination, there are very less cases, and slowly it is getting controlled. And nearly 3 months plus, we did complete lockdown
Mm-hmm.
of the movement. And very recently, government has opened some of the areas with maintaining safety and hygiene protocols. Domestic tourism is also slowly being opened up. From August 17, we have already announced to open our international airport and domestic movement. This is the current situation regarding COVID-19.
No, oh, thank you for that brief. And how has been the impact in the tourism industry in terms of like, because I'm sure because everything was shut down and I think Nepal is still on kind of some kind of semi lockdown or lockdown. I'm not quite sure, but how has been the impact in the industry and basically in tourism?
Tourism is the most impacted industry because of COVID-19, because this pandemic has limited the movement of people from one place to another place. And tourism is economy which is fully dependent on the activities that one person does while moving from one place to another place. So since there is lockdown and limitation in movements, physical movements,
Mm-hmm.
so obviously there is a huge impact in tourism industry. We are expecting that into 2020 we will have negative growth of roughly around 65% of negative growth in arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, 1,300 plus tourist standard hotels we have. 3,000 plus travel and tour agencies we have. Nearly 2,500 plus trekking agencies we have, 75 rafting agencies, nearly 25,000 we have registered tour guides.
Mm-hmm.
If we talk about the employment generation, nearly 1.1 million the human resource is directly and indirectly engaged in tourism industry. So this is a huge industry and which was a rapidly growing industry, and it is badly hit. Very recently, government has announced a fund of nearly 50 Arab Nepali rupees fund, which
Mm-hmm.
is going to mobilize to help to survive the industry.
Mm-hmm.
It is very the hugely impacted, but at the same time the government has very recently announced one safety protocol for different seven sectors, from airlines to hotel to restaurant to transport to the other experience centers. So that is there, and then government has also announced one domestic tourism promotion campaign also, and very soon promotional activities are going to happen. Similarly, we are also gearing up for. We are looking for some green corridors and the bubbles where we can connect Nepal
Mm-hmm.
for immediate recovery in terms of tourism arrival. So that kind of things are happening, and the industry is quite hopeful that this time also will bounce back well, maintaining safety and hygiene protocol. There has been, the kind of talk that three things are very important for our industry
Mm-hmm.
to assure in safety safety and hygiene protocols.
Mm-hmm.
We call it SMS,
Mm-hmm.
safe distancing,
Mm-hmm.
mask, and sanitizing. So
All right.
with these three, the safety protocols, we'll move on
Mm-hmm.
with and without vaccine or drug comes or whatever it is. So our topmost priority is now to maintain the safety and hygiene protocols.
Yeah, yes. I mean, it has become a kind of a new norm with the all the safety and other things, and I think all the destination, every destination in the world will have to actually adapt to that. And in terms of, I understand that there are lots of local communities who are reliant on tourism for their livelihood, and because there are no tourists, how has this impacted the local communities, especially in those regions where tourism is quite prominent, and in the I assume in the trekking and mountaineering areas, there might be a quite a huge impact on these local communities. Do you have any idea of what has been the impact to them?
Yes, in fact, the one thing is very unique about Nepal's tourism is Nepal's tourism is hugely interrelated and connected with local communities
Mm-hmm.
because our most of the destination and most of the activities are in rural areas, in village areas. For example, trekking is a major activity of Nepal's tourism. And then most of the trekking areas, we have local communities, tea houses, local guides we use, porters we use, and they all are dependent in tourism. So their livelihood is also directly have a kind of negative impact because of this COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Government and local authorities they have already designed a program where these unemployed human resources who were engaged in tourism to employ them for the maintenance of trekking trails or some kind of help them in their livelihood. That is there. And then another thing is there are so many good stories that we need to share to the world. Even in the lockdown, our local communities, local Sherpas, porters, they are without ignoring their the regular salary or income, they are quite happily engaged in maintaining the trekking trails, maintaining the small bridges, beautifying different the attractions in the route. So that kind of so many things are happening. One good thing is still we have nearly 1,800 to 2,000 international visitors. They are staying in Nepal,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that Nepal is safer place than their respective countries. So local communities are helping them with subsidized rates and with complimentary stay. So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of so many stories we have which need to be promoted more. As their jobs are negatively impacted, their income opportunities are negatively impacted. But despite these losing their income opportunities, their good thing is they are well engaged in maintaining their trails and houses and other attractions, thinking that tourism will revive soon. And then they are waiting to welcome again the esteemed visitors to welcome them again.
Yes, yeah, I have actually read some of these reports about people participating in different other forms of activities that can actually prepare the tourism post COVID. In terms of government strategies, do you have any idea of what is government thinking about post COVID tourism? What are the plans? I understand that the Nepal was preparing for a visit Nepal 2020 at the time of uh, coronavirus, when the coronavirus outbreak happened, and it has been temporarily, or maybe it has been cancelled for now. But any idea about the government now plans for like post-COVID tourism?
Uh, Yes, for Visit Nepal 2020, government had formed one special structure for the promotion of that campaign. Because of ongoing this COVID outbreak, government has cancelled that campaign for now. And then the industry is demanding for one very specialized revival, or the a specialized task force to handle these things, to close to working closely with government authorities and private sector. Because what we have learned after the crisis of earthquake is, when the public and private sector work together, then it helps tremendously to revive faster. So this time also, we are looking for a kind of mechanism where the whole industry, public and private, can work together. So that kind of things are happening. We are working on a kind of revival plan. The industry has suggested to the government for having 2020 as a year of survival, where our more focus would be to help the industry to survive for this year, where the domestic campaign or regional campaigns are important. And then, secondly, for 2021, we have designed, I mean, the drafted a plan for to focus our activities for as a year of revival, and 2022 as a year of thrival. And then, to work with four key segments and four key markets are identified. And the segment wise, the first is domestic tourism, which is being started within a week of time. Then second is we are trying to target niche segments. For niche segment, Nepal is very, very strong. For example, trekking, rafting, climbing, bird watching type of activities. Then another segment which is very, very important to revive after any kind of crisis is the business segment. In that segment, Nepal is a little bit weaker, but we are looking for different options in our neighboring markets. And then the fourth segment is spiritual segment. In that segment, Nepal is very, very rich. So in these four segments, we are working. And then market-wise, also the domestic and the regional markets, then short-haul market to the long-haul markets. So different strategies we have made. The very soon these things will happen. Government has already made public kind of safety protocol, and then the monitoring mechanism of that safety protocol is also made. So in this line, we are quite prepared to focus our effort for the quickest revival of tourism.
And in terms of like lessons from earthquake, do you think like any of these lessons or experience of recent revival from earthquake or recovery from earthquake would be helpful in post-COVID tourism?
Definitely. I think the effort that we did after earthquake is a kind of a guidebook for us now. For example, immediately after earthquake, we had launched a mega campaign called Ghumfir Barsa for domestic tourism promotion of Nepal. And after that, we had a kind of MOU with Nepali diaspora, we call non-resident Nepali association. And then we had we have had a kind of partnership with our diplomatic missions, Nepali lobbying clubs, that kind of thing. And after that, we had a very strong partnership with the influencers like Lonely Planet, like TripAdvisor, like the big media house, BBC, CNN. Not only that, the bloggers. We had a very, the one at a time, we had 100 plus bloggers in Nepal. And that event had made Nepal trending for a week. So that kind of, so many activities are very fresh in our mind. And as I mentioned, that will be a kind of a manual or kind of a guidebook for us to follow. And many celebrities we had invited after earthquake. So that kind of event we can do. We had the mega events like Himalayan Travel Mart with the objective of positioning Nepal as a gateway to Himalaya. And then after that, we organized Buddhist International Travel Mart with the objective of positioning Nepal as a gateway to Buddhist circuit. So that kind of events we can organize again. And then in many other international forums also, Nepal was highlighted quite well. And then after the earthquake, the major lesson we learned was even in the crisis, destination visibility is very, very important. And for that, we have to work even in the lockdown with different themes. And another thing is coming together and bringing all the stakeholders together is a kind of mantra to recover from the crisis. So these two very important lessons we had learned, and which we will follow this time also.
Yeah, to follow up from that last sentence about coming together, do you have a, and can you give me, provide overview of the areas where government and the industry and the local communities can work together for the recovery?
Yes, for example, uh, after the crisis,
Mm-hmm.
we always have a kind of limitation of resources. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
financial resources.
Mm-hmm.
So when we put the financial resources of communities, of industry, and the government together, we can have the effective mobilization of the fund also.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, every destination, the source market looks after the authenticity of the masses.
Mm-hmm.
When the voice of the government, private sector, and the communities is the same,
Mm-hmm.
then the source market believes it with high credibility. And another thing is. Like for example, together with we have different associations in our industry. For
Mm-hmm.
example, for hotel industry, we have Hotel Association of Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
For travel industry, Tour Operators Association. For trekking industry, Trekking Association. For mountain industry,
Mm-hmm.
different segments we have within the industry also.
Mm-hmm.
And then in government side, we have diplomatic missions, we have trade promotion centers, we have Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So these kind of key government agencies we have. And then in community level also, we have many destinations managed by communities also.
Mm-hmm.
In conservation, Nepal's efforts are the very, very praiseworthy efforts.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, today is the Tiger Conservation Day, and
All
Nepal
right.
is the
Mm-hmm.
only country which is going to double its tiger population by 2022.
Correct.
So we have so many good efforts,
Mm-hmm.
and these kind of stories we are trying to promote. And when we come together, we can promote well. And this kind of mechanism we have already set up. I would like to give one small example
Mm-hmm.
during this pandemic also.
Sure.
Immediately after pandemic, we had the government announced lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
The international airports was closed, and at that time we had nearly 8,000 international visitors in different parts of Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately we activated one crisis response center at Nepal Tourism Board, the
Mm-hmm.
National Tourism Organization of Nepal. And together with the local community and private sector, we managed to repatriate nearly 6,000 plus visitors in this lockdown only.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that was also a very good model of public-private partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I would like to mention one very innovative idea that in after earthquake we had launched one mega campaign called Nepal Now,
Mm-hmm.
and that was replicated in many other destinations also. For example, in Bali, in African countries, in South American countries, as a model program. So the motive of that program was to give a real-time information,
Mm-hmm.
authentic information, and another is to give a platform for the visitors to share their stories. And
Mm-hmm.
that campaign we have again revived. Um, so that kind of very good lessons we are going to I think start again, which we had done in after earthquake.
Thank you. That was very really insightful, and I know I'm aware of Nepal now and its impact, and I was quite following that during the time and after, during and after the recovery phase of Nepal's tourism there. Now, I have a final question. What opportunities do you see for tourism in Nepal ahead? Like, after
Uh,
things go normal or before that?
I think I am personally very, very hopeful, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
quite encouraged that Nepal will be one of the destinations which will quickly recover
Mm-hmm.
because of few reasons. The one is, especially after COVID-19, the people are looking for specialized destinations where less crowd is,
Mm-hmm.
and Nepal is one of the destination. Even I was looking through different protocols made by the big agencies like ATA, big tour operators,
Mm-hmm.
and they have made small groups a kind of protocol for them. And
Mm-hmm.
Nepal used to receive the highest, I mean, the biggest group we used to have is 100 plus lakhs,
Okay.
whereas other destinations used to have 2,000 plus, 5,000
Mm-hmm.
plus groups. So that is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Another is most of the people they are looking for the nature-based destination, transformative type of tourism, the isolation, the areas where they can have an experience of kind of isolation. So that kind of destination Nepal is. That is another thing. And then another thing is even the not by choice but by compulsion. Most of the activities in Nepal um, uh, are in we used to do in isolation. For example, climbing. No, the everybody cannot climb the mountain at the same time. So that
Mm-hmm.
is itself a kind of isolation. For example, trekking above
Mm-hmm.
the altitude of 2,000 meter, we cannot walk in the same pace.
Mm-hmm.
Even in our hilly region,
Mm-hmm.
above 2,000 meter, our houses are scattered.
Mm-hmm.
All over Nepal, the houses,
Mm-hmm.
the accommodation centers, they are scattered. If we see, for example, the Annapurna region is the most popular trekking area in the world, where accommodation is either some camping sites or tea houses, and by code of conduct itself, the one tea house has only 4 rooms. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of practice we already have. And then Nepal is popular uh, um, for yoga, meditation type of tourism, and
Mm-hmm.
that is also moved south after activity after pandemic. And
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about the people who will look for the hygienic foods,
Mm-hmm.
and Nepal's food is very very hygienic food. Most of the visitors, I would like to share one small information here.
Mm-hmm.
Last time in London itself, one of my friend was sharing me, the Nepal is known as very strong Sherpas and brave Gurkhas.
Mm-hmm.
That image Nepal has, who are physically very fit and mentally very peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of image Nepalese people has, and that is because of Nepalese food.
Mm-hmm.
That food is very very hygienic food. That's why Nepalese people are physically fit and
Mm-hmm.
mentally very very peaceful. So that kind of things are will also help us to attract more visitors. So I'm quite hopeful that and then the outbreak of this COVID-19 pandemic is also compared to other destinations, it is very very less
Mm-hmm.
in Nepal, and
Mm-hmm.
it is we are going to control very soon. And then the safety measures and protocols are also in place, already
Mm-hmm.
in place. And then every day we are doing a kind of training and orientation to the industry and the human resource who is in front line. So at the preparedness and at the the because of our preparedness, I
Mm-hmm.
think every destination will have the three things to revive faster.
Mm-hmm.
The one is the cost factor.
Mm-hmm.
Nepal is not an expensive destination.
Mm-hmm.
Another is safety assurance.
Mm-hmm.
We have already doing very good in safety and hygiene protocols.
Mm-hmm.
So safety assurance is also there. Another is value of the destination. So in that in that segment also Nepal is very very strong. So with these three reasons, I am quite hopeful that Nepal will recover faster.
Then thank you, Deepak ji, for giving this very detailed overview on the situation in Nepal and the impact of COVID on tourism in Nepal, and also your thoughts about the future of tourism in Nepal, and which is very optimistic. And I'm hopeful that tourism would definitely recover in a better way. And Nepal obviously has some advantage in terms of its isolation already from the rest of the world, and that's what Nepal is known for. So I'm hopeful that will help in the recovery as well. Now, finally, I would like to thank you very much for your time and also sharing some of your very useful thoughts on and insights on the tourism in Nepal, and also the impact of COVID-19 in tourism in Nepal. Thank you very much once again, Deepak ji.
Thank you very much. We'll be happy to welcome you and the team of university soon in Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you.